What's up, guys? Oh my gosh, man, we came over here. We're at Harriman, Tennessee, and this is an old hospital here. I'm actually going to be ghost hunting for 10 hours. Crazy. But we just came over here just trying to get some daytime shots, some B-roll. And Ronnie, the owner, is here. He's the same guy that owns the South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee also. And super nice guy. And he said he was going to give us a sneak peek inside. He said we can go ahead and get some shots on the outside and just knock on the door and let them know. So guys, join us. We want to get a sneak peek, and we're bringing you guys with us.
Yep, let's hope I don't get sunburned because it is hot.
Yeah, it's super hot. All right, peace. Alright guys, we have made it inside the Harriman Historic Hospital.
Over here. So when somebody had come in, they take their vitals, do all that good stuff here.
Oh, okay.
And then they would kind of tell you, if you've ever been to a hospital before, they'd tell you how severe you were. Depending on the severity of your injuries is where they put you in the hospital. So this is ER. I'll go backwards, so we'll just start at the end of the doorways. The first floor from this point on is closed. We have a really serious roof leak over here. But above it is really good, and we'll walk over there and I'll show you why. So you guys haven't been to Old South Pittsburgh, so you kind of have the same similarities in the hospital as Old South Pittsburgh. So these two rooms were actually used for ER as well. They were also used for if they had a patient die, they would put the patient in here, the dead patient in here. If the family wanted to see them or talk to them, prior to them going to the funeral home, kind of pay their last respects. These two rooms are used for this. And I do have nurses that verified that was the case. Very, very good rooms for SD sessions.
Oh yes, we were going to do that tonight.
So what we do is we lock the person in there, go around the corner,
and
then do the SDs experiment.
Nice.
Really, really active locations. And then the third location that we don't allow, because there's no way for us to keep you protected at night, but the emergency room shower was another location that they would put bodies in as well too. Outside, wait for the coroner to pick up, or the, the mortician. But that's what we were told these rooms were for. They were also obviously for rooms that you would use for, observation and that kind of thing. But for our intents purposes, the bodies were sometimes put in here for families to come pay their last respects for, or for somebody to come pick them up to take them on. My understanding is that there was never a morgue here, so the bodies were taken from here over to the local morgue or the mortician instead of that. And yes, there is a body in that bag, so be very careful.
Oh yeah.
One of the girls does like to put some props up here and there.
Awesome.
So we had a public investigation Friday night, so they could take the body off the stretcher. kind of cool. Kind of cool location. Yeah. There's more observation rooms back here. This room's got kind of conflicting. I've heard talking to different nurses at different time frames. This is a door that actually locks. And if you look, there's actually restraints in here.
Oh my goodness.
So I was told that a lot of times they would use this for disorderly patients who are drunk on drugs. I've also heard that it was used for criminals. That kind of a thing is a holding cell for to their well-being, to make sure that their well-being before they were transferred to a jail. Like I said, I've got nurses and doctors who kind of conflict on it in terms of what the actual room is used for. And as a hospital kind of grows and develops, they might not have used it at that time for that specific thing. But from what we see, if you look, there's a one-way mirror where you can't see out, you can only see in. The room is completely secured, and then you've got the hold-down ties. So my interpretation of that would be pretty much probably drunk and disorderly.
Yeah.
Or somebody who is trying to hurt themselves or something like that, where you tie them down until you can get a bed for them or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah.
It's gonna be a long challenge room.
Oh yeah, it would.
I was like, this room's very, like Martin's and our mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the building to us is pretty new. We've owned the building for probably about 3 months from the city. We've been working here for about a year. And to be really honest with you, we're going to take you to one of the areas that we have a team of about 35 to 40 people who caretake the hospital. Rhonda is one of them. We've been so busy getting it prepared that we really haven't had a lot of time to investigate.
Yeah, right, yeah.
The area that I'm going to take you to is the only area we've investigated as a team, and it's off the hook active.
Oh, wow.
So like I said, there's more observation rooms back here, and then over here. And then this is where we do kind of like a skit for people when we're doing our public investigations. We use a person as a trigger object, put them in the bed, and then we do like a fake ER situation to try and get the activity done. We'll have people do voice recorders. This is a really cool room for like EVPs and that kind of a thing. But that seems to kind of kick up the spirits for us. So there is a story that we have been told about this one from one of the nurses. That there was a patient that was in this room that they brought in that bled to death in here. When that patient actually bled to death, they actually saw what they considered to be the spirit going to, or the soul going to heaven. Now, like I said, whether or not that's what it was, but we have heard stories of that. And it's actually one of the nurses that's on my staff right now that was actually talking about that. But this was a room, from my understanding, what I was told was for kind of serious injuries. It doubled up as kind of a quick operating room, so if somebody was like gashed or had a really big cut or something, that they would do that in this room right here. Wow. So that's that. That's kind of a neat building.
Yeah, you have to take them in here. It looks so good in here.
So this was the cardiac room. So kind of what we got, and like I said, once again, conflicting stories from different nurses at different times. But kind of what we had heard is that these 3 rooms, or these 2 rooms, were really for cardiac patients. This is where they did a lot of CPR, a lot of people who came in non-responsive. This was the primary room for that. We have one of the girls, like I said, who's on our staff, said this was kind of the room that they would do that. And a lot of people ended up losing their lives in this specific room.
Oh my gosh.
And most of them to cardiac trauma or coming in off the ambulance with no heartbeat to begin with, and kind of trying to revive them in this room. So as we were talking about earlier, my team of about 35 to 40 never leave this area of the hospital. This is the surgical suites. So you've got operating rooms on both sides. You've got recovery that's down on the other end. And what's really, really cool, somebody lock this out.
Whoa.
Pretty much ready to go.
Wow.
If you guys wanted to do surgery on your son today,
yes.
you've got all the things you really need to do.
It's like you have
pull that bed up from downstairs, put it up here, and we have the electric off up here primarily because as a paranormal investigator, we want as little electricity as possible.
Yes.
So the first floor is completely electrified. I think you and I spoke about that. So that's the only electric throughout the whole building, and primarily that is to make sure that if you're using K2s or anything, they're not going to get false positives.
Wow.
You might get the order done.
Hey, buddy.
So this is one of the 6. There's actually 6 operating rooms up here, and each one of them keeps getting better and better as you go through them.
Yeah, I got you over here standing up.
Really?
And these two,
You might be feeling it already.
actually connect here, so you can actually go from one to the next.
Wow.
Once again, you can see the lighting and pretty much all ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, sterilization.
Yep. Wow. We can actually just walk through. Go ahead, keep walking through.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Just kidding. Come on, Holly. But one of the claims in this building too is that they have clocks that are on the wall. They're off now, but when the clocks, the surgeons would do their thing and they time their surgeries.
Yeah.
And they would come back in and they'd be stuck at a time.
Oh,
Like they'd go
really?
back to a different time. And they're all digital, they're all electronic, but that was one of the kind of the claims of the building, that they would be stuck at a certain time. It's kind of unique.
It is.
I can't figure out, when hospitals go vacant, I can't figure out, the first thing everybody steals is the damn clocks.
Really?
Old South Pittsburgh was the same way. They go through and they steal all the clocks.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know what the deal is.
I don't know.
So kind of the first claim when we took over which is just kind of one of the first things that we had taken over when we had taken over the building, was that there was a gentleman that a lot of people would see from the street. We're going to go up to the next floor that they actually see him from the street, kind of a tall, encumbering man. And so our first night here, there were 8 of us, and these doors were actually closed, and we were on the other side, and we saw him. The first night, what was that?
I think it was a door closing that we just came out
Oh,
of.
it was the door closing.
Okay.
Might have been.
But so we had actually seen him.
That's like-
And if you
like a
guys walk,
delay.
I'll kind of take you on the path. But if you kind of walk this way, this is a giant circle. So you go into the men's lounge, you can walk through here, and then you have the, this is kind of where the nurses and doctors had their hospital staff.
Yeah.
So this is where they would bring their dinners and all that good stuff. So this is a giant circle, so you can actually go this way, and then
This
you
probably reminds me of Left 4 Dead.
bathroom.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Goes into
Nowhere.
the ladies' restroom.
So cool.
And then you've got the locker rooms. Like I said, you're gonna get lost in here tonight. I still get lost in here. Then you go this way, and then you come out here, and there's the dog. And you come out here, and there's recovery. So it's a giant circle. So we had seen this gentleman that was in the building. We all thought he was human. We thought he was alive because the full body operation was that dense.
Wow.
So we actually locked the girls in the bathroom. So we, men first, let us die,
Yes.
So we followed this guy in a circle for a good 15 to 20 minutes. Well, then finally there was a lull for a couple of minutes, and we were kind of all standing here. And we let the girls come out. We knocked on the door, told them it was safe. So we're all standing here. Well, we saw him walk the corridor, and then the door opens over here. So cool. So the door opens over here. We all saw the gentleman. This door opens. And we heard the door close behind him. And if you look, there's absolutely no way out.
Oh man.
So
What?
we all come walking in here, and we're all doing this because
Well, that got me.
Oh my
he was
gosh.
gone.
That's
This
crazy.
gentleman, we see him periodically throughout the building. He'll be standing kind of overseeing you. When you're coming up the stairs, he's a lot of times in the doorway of the staircase, just kind of standing there like this. But he's so vivid that we saw the overalls on him.
Wow.
So we're kind of thinking maybe a maintenance man from when
That's
the
why I was just thinking maintenance.
yeah, from when the hospital first came to what do you call fruition or whatever. But then once again, we
Wow.
gotta go through here.
Yeah, there's no way out in here, guys.
No way out. There's
I
more
love that.
here. We have the big ones here. So there's another big one here. And then this was a lot of surgical tools. You can see where it's all still labeled.
Oh, wow.
A lot of surgical stuff, a lot of all that good stuff.
Wow.
Pretty cool, pretty cool.
Soiled linen.
Yeah, and soil linen for after surgeries. Look at you guys getting the $10 tour. All right, so we'll go up another flight of stairs. So kind of tonight, oh, I forgot recovery, sorry guys. And then you got the full recovery, which is in really good condition.
Oh yeah, really good.
Somebody pulled down my shelf.
Oh.
So when you guys started coming in and cleaning everything up, was it really tore up? A lot
No,
of
it was in pretty good shape. The city did a really good job because it's in downtown Harriman. The city did a really good job of making sure that there wasn't vandalism or anything like that. They had a city maintenance guy who actually checked on the building periodically from time to time. So no, it's in really good shape. The old part of the building, like we were talking about earlier, and we're going to walk over there, has got a lot of roof leaks. We've already spent hundreds of thousands, well, not really, tens of thousands of dollars in roof. And primarily what we wanted to do is we wanted to get the building open for paranormal investigating as quick as possible, so that the building did become active again in terms of in a city and for the city.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is the nice thing about it too is it's 168,000 square feet. There's about 30,000 square feet that's closed.
Oh, that's
So it's really not that bad. You're going to see the majority of it. There's only a little bit of a stretch that isn't open. And it's primarily because when the hospital was open, there's an elevator that the roof pretty much disintegrated on it. And the water just came pouring in. So it went down to the first floor. It didn't do any damage on this floor, but it went down and it kind of puddled. And then there's a couple other areas. The building was flat when it was first born, and if you guys walk outside and walk down the back, if you see the blue awning and you count 7 windows each way, So it's 14 windows across. That's the original hospital.
Oh, okay.
And then from there on, they kept expanding it this way, and then you're, just like Old South Pittsburgh, you're sitting kind of in the 90s edition of the building. And as we walk through it, you're gonna see the different eras in terms of just the heating ducts, the air conditioning ducts, that kind of thing. You're gonna see all those different things, so it's cool. So we'll go up to the next floor. Look at you guys getting the tour.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
How many of you guys got your team tonight?
8.
8?
Yep.
I know, I was looking at
This is so cool, guys. So nice of him letting us have a sneak peek.
Before the ICU was put on the 4th floor, this would have been step down in ICU, and then ICU would have been that way. When the 4th floor was actually put up, they moved the ICU to the 4th floor. The original ICU we're going to go down to, which is actually an A3, but this became patient rooms. I don't know what she's doing, but this became patient rooms. Once again, we haven't done a whole lot of what do you call it, investigating up here. One of the claims up here is little boys, a little boy running around, a little girl running around, and some various other activities. And I cannot see, I'm even backwards. One of the rooms that faces Roan Street, which is the main part of the build, or which is the main road that runs through Harriman. A lot of the residents of the town will actually see somebody standing in the window in a white gown.
Oh my God.
The window. And I'm, like I said, I'm backwards, so I'm not really sure. One of these days I'll get this right.
And this is what, 3rd floor you said?
Yeah, this is 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Patient rooms. Let's see if this is it. Let me just get my wiring straight here. Okay, so yeah, so it would be one of these windows, and most likely it's this room.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like one of the end rooms, and there's the 2 end rooms in Roan Streets that way. And that has been verified by fire department, police department, local members of the community. Long after the building was closed, they would actually see the person standing in the window in a white gown.
Oh my gosh.
It's really kind of cool. They've also seen things moving up on this floor. Yeah, you can open windows. We keep them closed to keep the heat out.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you're more than welcome to open them and look out. Once fall comes, we'll have them all open again. It gets really light and eerie up here during the daytime.
Oh, I bet so.
Yeah.
At the old Zenith TV.
Yeah, we didn't take anything down. Pretty much everything the way you see it is the way we got the building. So, but yeah, so straight across the street. So the Harriman Municipal Building is City Hall, and then behind it is the police station, and then to the right, behind the Temperance Building, is the fire department. So you're in a really safe location in terms of
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
being safe with local law enforcement.
Probably.
Yeah, we're walking around the back. Police pulled up. She rolled real
Yes.
slow and then stopped and rolled down the back window first because she had a police dog. She wanted me to know the dog was back there, and then rolled down her window. And I'm like, hi, we have permission.
They patrol about every hour. So yeah, about every hour.
I believe Caleb's got a new friend.
About every hour. We're kids in the what do you call it? We wanted to make sure that the hospital didn't become a parking lot. Come on, Allie. Come on, girl.
Woohoo!
I got
Man.
her having the zoomies. We were playing.
That was in 2013. He opened this in like 2008.
Oh.
So they put tens of millions of dollars into the building and then left
Man.
later.
That is crazy.
Really neat functions are one of the really cool things about this ICU. And don't ask me why. This is really cool, right?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild?
I mean,
The first hospital I've ever been to.
never
that's got
seen
pull-out
that.
toilets.
Caleb, come look at this.
Yeah, come check this toilet out.
Pull-out toilets.
We're playing.
They're actually
Well, that's neat.
and the flushers up here. So I've never seen that before.
I haven't either.
To be honest, I've never been in too many ICUs either. So,
yeah.
But,
That is
I
pretty
mean,
Yeah,
I've been in a
pretty-
few, but never,
pretty neat.
never seen it.
Wow.
yeah. These are all of our ICUs, and then we'll walk this way. And once you get through the doors, you get into step down. So this would be critical care, ICU, and then you go into critical care where these are all step down rooms. One of the rooms leaks up here. You're okay though, because we're not expecting any rain tonight. I think it's room 403. I think we've got it fixed. Kind of one of the reasons that they closed the hospital down was because this, for some odd reason, when I was talking to the nurses and doctors, was really hard to cool, really hard to heat, and they were constantly getting leaks. Like leak after leak after leak.
Wow.
One of the things that's really cool too is that is the only glass enclosed nurses station in the building.
Wow.
And we still can't get the answer as to why. Some people think this might have become the infectious disease area.
Yeah.
We don't know. None of the nurses will say one way or the other. We've asked everybody, and even the old doctor that used to work here had no idea why this was the only one that was enclosed with glass. So we're kind of thinking either infectious disease or possibly because it was stepped down in ICU, maybe germs or we don't know, but it's kind of cool. But this is the prettiest of all the nurses stations in the building.
It really
the
is.
New part.
Nice.
When we
Wow.
go down to A3, I'll show you the prettiest nurses station of all.
And this
Holly,
was,
where'd you go?
and this was built back in 2013, this part?
This was, no, this was closed in 20.
Oh, okay. So,
This was built in the 08.
08. Oh, 08. Okay.
No, this was, yeah, the fourth floor was built out in 08.
Oh, okay.
So this actually building dates back to the 90s.
Oh,
And what
okay,
they
cool.
did is they actually got the staircase from, oh, look at her. She's like, come on, guys. But this floor actually was used for storage up until 2008-ish.
Oh,
And then
okay.
also they decided, well, we need to put an ICU up here. So they put the ICU up here. This floor has got so many stories in terms of what it was used for and what they did with it. And then finally they're like, oh, well, we need to put an ICU in. So they put an ICU in. From my understanding, this hospital only had a 3-bed ICU until they put that 4th floor up. Right, Holly, are you ready? Are you ready to go see the old part of the building? Come on.
So yeah, let's go.
How old is she?
I think she's 3.
Okay. We're coming.
Come on. From the new hospital to the old hospital, as we call it the Sky Bridge. I have no idea what it's really called. But basically it's a Sky Bridge. If you look, the Harriman Hospital sign is here. That's actually original to the building. Just like you
cool.
guys never been to Old South Pittsburgh, but basically the old hospital went here and then they just built this part of the hospital and put a bridge on and put the new addition on. So it's kind
The
of
old
really...
was 1939?
No, it started in 1930, was built in 1938 and then was finished in 1939. So if you actually look, remember how we talked about the 14 windows?
Yeah.
So if you see the gray box there with the big ugly silver thing, the ventilation shaft that's there, you can count 14 windows this way and that's the original hospital. If you look close enough, you can actually see the different tile or the different, what do you
Brick?
call it? Brick. But
Brick,
you can
yeah.
see how it's got the stripe
yeah.
across the top, the other one doesn't. What's really unique about this building too is if you look straight down, that was the colored ward. We segregated back in those days, and that was actually the color ward. And what's
wow.
really sad about it too is when you go in there, they actually have bars on the windows.
Oh my God.
So it's kind of a really sad, a sad time for our country. Thank God we got over that.
Yes, thank
But
God.
That was the color ward and the cafeteria as well too. They got a very small section of that. Now it's actually a maintenance where the maintenance man has had his equipment. So,
Oh, okay.
But that was original to the building, and you can kind of see how the brickwork kind of matches. So that's what's really kind of neat. It's telltale signs. You can see the additions. The problem is we can't get anybody to tell us when that addition was, like the years. So we're kind of having architects come out and kind of guess in terms of when the, what do you call it? If you look at the bell housing here, that was the state-of-the-art elevator that this hospital had. It was one of the few hospitals in the 30s that had this particular elevator in it. So they considered it a state-of-the-art elevator. And then the other stack that's to the right of it, a little bit over, is actually the dumbwaiter where they would bring, we'll walk over there.
Okay.
Bring stuff up like that. But that was considered the state-of-the-art elevator. Hospital is we're going into the old section. So you're actually walking into an addition now as well. So the actual building ended here. And these were the old surgical suites that they turned into waiting rooms.
Wow.
This was a office for one of the nurses that worked here. But this was actually the OR suite. So when they added an addition on, and we were talking about, whoops, your balls. When we were talking about that area that I told you about. So basically above us is another bell tower, and it holds the air conditioning units and the sterilization for the old ORs. And you can see all the crust up there.
Yeah.
Well, when the building got shut down, they actually just put a tarp up there and it was leaking. Well, the problem is the water went straight down.
Oh.
And it leaked all on the first floor, so that's why we're not letting anybody on the first floor yet.
Okay.
What's really cool about this building, though, is no mold because it's all cement.
Nice.
There's no drywall in this building.
Nice.
So you don't have that same thing where you walk into a lot of the old buildings and you get all that mold and gross because it's all over. So anyways, so getting back to here, this is my favorite part of the building because these are actually 1940s, 1950s operating rooms. Once again, completely intact.
Dang.
But you see the green tiles, you see where they used to keep the operating equipment and that kind of thing. Kind of the history that we learned on the green tiles is that there was a doctor who was a surgeon, and he realized that when the walls were white, in a critical situation, when you look down, or you're doing your operating, and you looked up at a white wall, it took your eyes a moment to actually adjust to the patient again. So the green was more soothing on the eyes, and it actually contrasted the innards of a human being.
I did not know that.
When the doctor looked up and looked back down, he didn't lose any of those very important moments during the operating of the patient. So that's when the green tile has come out.
One thing it makes me think of is the Motley Crue album, the Dr. Phil.
Well, I think that was actually kind of big. That cover was based on operating room like this.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. X-ray would have been to your right. You can walk through there. X-ray would have been to your right. What's really, really cool too is I can't figure this out, but they took a sink.
Oh.
Like the old hospital took this specific sink. We don't know why it's specifically taken, but they went through, and when the building moved from location to location, they took parts. And this thing, for some odd reason, was slated to go.
That is weird.
This was actually an X-ray room right here. You can see where it says caution X-ray room, but this was X-rays. And then you would, which I don't know how they did that, but the technician, remember how they'd stand out, look through a glass window?
Yeah.
They'd actually stand out, look through the glass window there.
Wow.
Take the pictures, and then later they put the scrubbing sinks over there. And then we've got one, your son's still over here taking pictures. One more of the operating rooms. And just so you know, guys, this actually, as the hospital went on, this became the area where they did colonoscopies.
Oh, really?
You may not
Okay.
spend a lot of time in there.
Somebody be like, all right,
Yeah, but you did, I mean, it's just amazing.
Wow,
Got the
man.
X-rays.
God.
I don't know why, it's so fascinating.
It really is.
They're so
I
fascinating.
love it. That's why I buy them. Because, and like I said, one of the things I think is really, really neat about hospitals is that this is the front line of our mental health and physical health. And,
Yeah.
you know, we just keep demolishing hospitals, and all the people who did all their work here, they don't get the recognition they deserve.
Exactly.
So we try and talk to the nurses and doctors who actually operate in here and get their what do you call it? Like their take on what happened in the building. And what's really, really neat is in this building, we've got a handful of nurses and doctors that are really open to talking to us. A lot of them have transferred to a different facility, which Rome just moved down the road a little bit, and they're pretty tight-lipped about not wanting to talk about it. And we respect that, but a lot of them are really, like I said, a lot of them are really open to it. And then to hear the hauntings, because a lot of the nurses and doctors, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but a lot of the nurses and doctors will tell you all sorts of things that happen in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I'm from Chicago, if you can tell, because I have the accent, northern accent. But I have a business in Chicago that's 2 blocks from the hospital, and a lot of our clients are nurses and doctors. And the first thing I see when they have scrubs on is like, so tell me about what happens at the hospital. And hospitals get to the point where there's rooms that are so haunted, they actually shut the rooms down.
Wow.
And this hospital has the same thing happening to them, but we don't tell you that.
Man.
On your own. But
crazy.
they'll tell me, like, at the hospital that's down the road from our house, they have room 118 and 212 that they won't let anybody in it because things start opening and moving, and there's a patient in there, and it's just crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's really kind of cool. This would have been waiting for surgery after they did the addition. This is where kids broke in a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Well, this is a great story, and I warn anybody who's going to do this. So the kids broke into this building, and they had the same group of kids broke in the night before. So the police officers were actually in the building doing a walkthrough because we had an event here.
Oh.
The police officers were standing right here. Right here. And they heard the glass break. And of course, police officers are very well trained in Harriman. So they just kind of sat here and waited. And the glass actually ended up kind of in the middle of the room.
But they're hard.
And well, you heard them walk on the glass, and they walk out. And the police officers were like, "You're arrested." 2 of them went that way, 2 of them went that way. All 4 of them ended up in jail.
Good.
Oh, nice.
So don't mess with the Harriman police.
That's right.
So that would have been all surgical suites. This was the elevator that you saw the bell tower on. This was the state-of-the-art elevator that did 2 floors. So it was real state-of-the-art, you know what I mean?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
This is nursery. You can see we've got our little nursery baby.
Oh.
So before the hospital, the last baby that was born in here, I believe, was 1986.
Oh.
And then they moved on. For some odd reason, Tennessee does this. A lot of the hospitals don't deliver babies anymore.
Really?
As the hospitals grow and develop, they actually have hospitals that specialize just in birthing babies. So in 1986, the last baby was born here. This would have been the nursery, which was directly across from the nurses station. but that would have been the nursery. There was at one time glass here where you can view the babies. Obviously secured lock, so you couldn't get in and out. But yeah, so they changed that to the nursery. Nobody has really told us what they did with this area after the nursery shut down. We don't know if they just used it as patient rooms or anything like that.
There's the rocking horse.
But yeah, it's really, really cool. And you can kind of see how the policies change. If you look, all the rooms are just 1 beds.
Yeah.
Whereas when we're going to go to the old part of the hospital, they're 2 and 3 beds.
Right,
and once the
yeah.
HIPAA policy came in place, they adjusted the hospital to meet those needs, which was kind of neat. Now you're walking into day surgery, and this is the block. So you're walking a whole city block. So when you go from that location to there, you're basically walking a city block. So if you got your little pedimel, your
stepper, yeah.
Stepper. What's it called?
Mine just a Fitbit.
I don't know what it's called.
I
Yeah.
can't even remember.
It's like count your steps.
Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
Count your steps.
Yeah.
When we had bought the hospital, this was the worst leak in the building. There was a gash up there that was about this long and about that wide, and when you walk in this area, it literally rained down.
Oh my God.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That was me, but there's somebody walking around. Yeah, somebody walking around down there.
Ooh, it's like a whisper.
Hey, Rhonda.
That's not little.
I got chills.
So when you guys are doing your investigation today, all of the outside doors all have alarms on them. So
Okay.
if you hear an alarm go off, call 911 immediately, because
Okay.
you're the only ones in the building.
Okay.
We're a new location, so people are still in that, let's see if we can get in. We haven't had too many problems. The problems we have had, they've been arrested. But just so you guys know, like I said, all of the building is alarmed. There's cameras everywhere. The girls will be watching you guys, not so much you guys, but just be watching the building.
Okay.
They count heads, so as they're walking by, if there's a head.
It's like, wait a
we know.
minute. Yes.
But getting back to that, this is kind of funny, you're on the psych ward now.
Oh.
So this was psych ward, geriatric wing, which is kind of funny because whatever that squeal was,
Yeah,
sounded kind of squealy.
it did.
But this was psych ward, geriatric wing. And what's really kind of neat about this, as you can tell, those doors locked, and the only way up and down is with a key. So that is the only way that you can get in and out of the building, is via the key to get up and down.
Oh.
All of the other doors locked. If you guys look, we're going to go down. But all the other doors locked. Everything is key coded.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually Queen Street. The church is right here. That's what I love.
Yeah, that sounds like a normal.
Oh. Man.
Should we go?
Are we gonna go?
Yeah, no problem. I'm upstairs.
All right, guys. Like an alarm just went off.
The wind,
Oh.
we're walking around. I got to fix that door.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought maybe somebody was
I thought it was-
coming in.
But yeah, the doors are secured.
Okay, cool.
I just gotta get on pretty top. Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure that door's nobody here. One of the things that we do
didn't
when we
see
have
that.
a public investigation is we line the halls with the balloons with LED sticks in them.
Cool.
So you can see, you can actually see shadow figures walking in front of them.
Oh,
Sick. Okay.
Last
Yeah, I saw them
night,
flickering. I was
last
like,
night one of the balloons was rocking back and forth really hard.
yeah.
And if you can feel, this building's
Oh.
really solid in terms of drafts. So it's really kind of cool.
I feel like as soon as we walked in this section, I felt the energy change.
It's heavy.
I mean, it really
It's real
is.
heavy in this
Yeah.
area.
It really is.
Yeah. This we're thinking was kind of done in the 50s.
Wow.
So when you guys,
Oh.
this is what makes the building famous. There is a young lady who I'll show you her picture because you'll probably see her tonight. Her name is Joanna. Joanna was, yeah, this is verified. So this is actually Joanna. I won't do it on camera though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's
Oh, okay.
Joanna. So Joanna was actually a cardiac. So this was the actual original cardiac ICU. We'll walk in there and I'll show you exactly. But this was her area.
Okay.
Joanna owned this area of the hospital. She did her nursing, got her nursing degree, and was pretty much here from the day she became a nurse to the day she died. What's kind of ironic about the whole thing, and I'm sorry, Joanna, for laughing. But what's kind of ironic is she had up the cardiac. She was the cardiac nurse for ICU. She died of cardiac arrest.
Oh, no.
And the new
Yeah.
ICU and the new
Yeah.
ER. But Joanna, everybody that we talked to has the utmost respect for her. She became a trainer as well as pretty much the heart and soul of the cardiac care unit here, but kind of unique. So one of the claims, and there were many, many nurses who were friends, who called her friends, that spoke with her on a regular occasion. But one of her claims was that she said that when I pass away, I'm never leaving this place, is what she told her coworkers.
Wow.
So when she was brought in on cardiac arrest, she did take morphine. She wanted to be clear-headed, you know, and all that other good stuff. Probably to oversee whoever was taking care of her, because that's the kind of woman she was, from my understanding. But she did end up passing in the new ER. But after her passing, one of her really good friends was here one night, and oh, that's me. That's the other hospital. But yeah, so she was here, and one of her friends had sat down, and I think there was a storm, or there was something unique that happened, where there used to be monitors up, and they'd watch the monitors for the heart patients. So they did kind of change this around because the OR or the ICU has moved, so they changed this around a little bit. But she was actually, the woman came, she sat down, and she looked over, and Joanna was sitting there. And Joanna looked at her, gave her kind of a smile, and they both looked up at the monitors. Joanna looked up at the monitor. She looked up at the monitor with Joanna. She looked over, and Joanna had disappeared. And this has happened I've got so many different accounts from so many different nurses that have cited her, have seen her. One of her areas, which is over here, she was even in after death, or when she had passed. They have seen her in this room, kind of looked like doing her work, doing her rounds. And like we were talking about HIPAA policy, if you notice, this would have been 3 beds. Obviously, this is one of the reasons why they stopped using this part of the hospital, because of HIPAA policies. You can't keep patients together. But this was Joanna's area. This is where she loved to be. This is where she loved to work, putting numerous amounts of hours in training lots of people. But when we have groups here, they spend a lot of time here, get a lot of activity from her. She likes to use the flashlight. She likes to use SDs. She loves things that lights up. I think actually somebody left the ball here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's balls. We leave them here for her. But yeah, if you notice, like I said, this is probably like the 50s, I want to say. But like we were talking about, if you look, even like the vet work is all different.
That's a very
Like
50s.
everything's all
It really does.
So the original ICU, when we had bought the building, we couldn't understand this, is that this became the Hospital Incident Command Center, whatever that means. So they used to have a haunted house in here, which
Oh,
I thought
okay.
was really kind of unique. And so all of their haunted house stuff was stored in this room. So when we started cleaning out the haunted house, we noticed that this is really kind of weird, is that you have a bathroom installed right here,
Oh.
but there's a big thing right here.
Oh, so this
So we're
this
like,
was
this is really weird. So one of the nurses actually on our team had come down, and she says, nope, this was the original ICU.
Oh.
So the original ICU was a 3-bed ICU, which was actually right here, and then the nurses station was over here, as you can see by the tiles. So this would all have been the nurses station. There would have been a glass window here.
Oh,
so
okay.
this was the original ICU.
Oh,
and
wow.
then they had moved it afterwards, and I don't know what they did with the building. Still, like I said, real sketchy in terms of what happened in the hospital.
Yeah.
I know that talking to people, the hospital has been remodeled and changed, various amounts of times. But this was the original. You can even see the cool tile floors.
Oh yeah.
Some of the remnants of it is still kind of around, but kind of cool.
Wow.
But this is like an area, like I said, this is an area where a lot of people spend a lot of their time, because Joanna is one of our documented spirits, one of our documented nurses who's been here quite frequently, but spends a lot of time in this area. And this is actually kind of really historic looking, because if you go back, it's really clean.
It really
Really
is.
good for 1950s.
Yeah, it is.
In great shape. We did very little cleaning up this area of the hospital. A lot of time.
There's no way of
This
getting
place is
to
massive,
the
guys.
cardboard section.
No, that whole roof is
Oh, that
collapsed. And we'll walk out there, because I'll show you. Because it's actually kind of neat. But what happened was, is when the city... Anybody need a ride? Way behind you. Okay, so
make sure it
once
shuts.
you guys-
All right. Good.
If you're gonna walk around, So this was all the hospital. These were actually hospital buildings at one time as well too. And one of the world famous areas was called Mahogany Hall. And that's where a lot of administrative offices and stuff were. So basically, if you look at the building, this was the colored ward like we were talking about. So there was actually a bridge or a skyway that went to this building.
Oh, okay.
And this was all solid mahogany. Everything in there was solid mahogany. When the city got the building back from the hospital, one of the things was to secure these, you had to knock the bridge down.
Oh, okay.
So when they knocked the bridge down, they did a lot of damage to the roof and to the structure.
Oh.
And so all along that top edge up there, the roof is actually coming apart. Our eventual goal is to get that up and going. We have some pictures from when that building actually was that ward. So we're going to try and make that kind of a remembrance to them and all those other good stuff when we do it. Right now, it's in really bad shape, so we don't let anybody back there.
Oh, okay.
It's coming though.
Nice. So by next year, you said?
Next year.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we've been diligently working on getting that all done. Yeah, that's the sewer.
Oh, that's the sewer. Is there a basement in this hospital?
There is. There's still the only basement that's in the hospital is in the cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
And even when the hospital is open, they had trouble with that, keeping it mold because it's below ground.
Oh.
So all the kitchen stuff is there. We will have that open next summer, hopefully as well too.
Awesome.
They're diligently working on getting a lot of that abated.